police operation known as Operation Coldstore was carried out in the early hours of 2nd February 1963, right here in Singapore. Through more than the 113 arrests and detentions it entailed, the left of Singapore was essentially destroyed. The 113 people were arrested for suspicion and for communist activities, and for supporting the Brunei Rebellion. Operation Coldstore was a codename operation which was to suppress and eliminate the communist forces in Singapore, such as the Barisan Socialists. This was to prevent Singapore from becoming another communist Cuba. The Barisan Socialists and its associated pro-communists had come up and done their best to sabotage the information of Malaysia. They included Lim Chin Song, Esmond Paul, Fong Swee Suan, and Dominic Puducherry.
Through Operation Coldstore, more than 113 arrests and detentions were made. However, this left the political left of Singapore devastatingly crippled to the core. This event was made even more significant due to the large number of people involved. Following Operation Coldstore, there were many protests which followed. The remaining Barisan Socialist leaders, led by Lee Seow Chow, condemned the arrest and lobbied the United Nations for the release of the Quadris. Between April and May 1963, more parties' leaders were arrested due to the protest. So, the Barisan Socialists had been significantly weakened when the 1963 Legislative Assembly general elections was called in September. The Barisan Socialists were beaten convincingly by the PAP as they had won only 13 seats compared to the PAP's 37 seats in the elections. Operation Coldstore managed to decrease the number of communist activities in Singapore greatly. Chin Peng, then the Singapore Secretary General of the Communist Party of Malaya, admitted in his memos that Operation Coldstore shattered our underground network throughout the island. Those who escaped the police and went into hiding. Many fled to Indonesia. The Barisan Socialists was a very strong party in the 1940s. It was even expected to win the next general election. After Operation Coldstore, it was significantly weakened. Thus, PAP went on to win the general election against severely weakened opponents.
Operation Coldstore has shed light on many incidents. One of the incidents is the Soviet-Afghan War. The Soviet Union supported Afghanistan. A Soviet-supported government took over the country. People did not like it as the government did not respect Muslim laws. An Afghan leader killed the current president and took control. Soviets were concerned that the current leader was talking with US, their prime enemy. Thus, they invaded Afghanistan. The Afghans were rebels such that the Soviets could not cope with. This was because the Afghans wanted to protect their homeland. This was condemned by US, and US even boycotted the 1980 Games in Moscow. And finally, the Soviets retreated. Operation Coldstore has shed light on this incident, and the Afghans removed the communists, even though they were outpowered and outgunned.
Operation Coldstore shed light on many other historical events, a notable event being the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War was a long, costly armed conflict that pitted the communist regime of North Vietnam and its southern allies, known as the Viet Cong, against South Vietnam and its principal allies, the United States. The war began in 1954, after the rise to power of Ho Chi Minh and his communist Viet Minh Party in North Vietnam, and continued against the backdrop of an intense Cold War between two global superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. More than 3 million people were killed in the Vietnam War. More than half were Vietnamese civilians. This incident draws parallels to Operation Coldstore, as the British was like the Americans, going against the communists in North Vietnam. The communists in North Vietnam was like the Malayan Communist Party, or MCP, against the Western powers. Furthermore, the operation was akin to the war, just that the Operation Coldstore in Singapore was on a milder scale than the Vietnam War. Both outcomes of these events left opposing parties crippled and deeply affected, as the political left in Singapore was severely weakened after Operation Coldstore, and both countries in the Vietnam War had millions of casualties. The only difference between these two events was that the difference